The NFL schedule release is already underway, and we got some really fun, really exciting games announced, but I got some head scratchers that I'm already seeing on this schedule. We're going to talk about that today. Obviously, on Thursday's episode video on the channel, we're going to full in depth give my top 5 weeks of the upcoming NFL season, but I want to talk about some of the pre-released games today on the First and 30 football show. If you love the NFL, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now we have to start, of course, with the opening game of the 2025 NFL season. The Philadelphia Eagles will be hoisting their banner against the Dallas Cowboys on September 4th. This is an interesting game to me because obviously on paper, Cowboys, Eagles, the rivalry there, Dallas, America's team, they're going to get butts and seats. The defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles going to get butts and seats. Massive rivalry, right? You understand on its surface level why the NFL would be intrigued by this matchup. However, I think there were better matchups for the NFL out there. The Lions versus Eagles was sitting right there. The top 2 seeds in the NFC last year. The NFC championship that we all thought we were going to get, but didn't get. 2 very high-powered offenses. Goff, Gibbs, Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Laporta, Jameson Williams, a top 3 offensive line. For Detroit, for Philadelphia, Hurts, Saquon, AJ, Smitty, Goddard, Dotson, a top 3 offensive line. You had the potential for fireworks on the opening night of the NFL season, and it would have been a very good game. And then you still have the question marks of what is Detroit without their coordinators? How do some of the younger pieces fit in for Philly now that they had to move off of guys like Slay, Sweat, Gardner Johnson? A lot of storylines there. And I think it was a game that the people wanted because we didn't get to see it last year at a time that we all really wanted it as NFL fans. But if you weren't going to go with the Lions, and you were willing to do a divisional matchup, because a big thing for me is normally, from what I've noticed, the NFL tries to stay away from divisional matchups on opening night of the NFL season. Clearly here, they were willing to do it with the Dallas Cowboys. Why not do the Washington Commanders? Why not have an NFC Championship rematch? Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, opening night. 2, in my estimation, top 6 quarterbacks in the NFL. Why not have the new, rejuvenated Washington Commanders? Can Jaden take a step forward? They brought in Tunsil. They drafted Connerly Jr. You have Deebo Samuel to this group. It's a more high-powered team versus Philadelphia, who hung 50 plus on them in the NFC Championship. Both of those games to me felt better. Hell, even a sneaky Bears-Eagles game felt a little bit better. Yet, we don't get it. It does not happening. Instead, we get Dallas, Philadelphia. And again, do I understand on its surface why the NFL could pick this game? Dallas is a huge market. America's team. I get it. But for me, there's too many question marks with the Cowboys to ensure that this is going to be a competitive football game. Seriously, last year, Dallas missed the playoffs. And I get it, some of that's due to a potential Dak Prescott injury. But I think there was a shot, even if Dak stayed healthy, that team missed the playoffs. He's coming back from injury. Mike McCarthy out at head coach, Schottenheimer in. Probably going to take at least a few weeks to fully get in rhythm there. What is George Pickens' role in this offense? Will it be worked out by week 1? Who's their running back? What is their running game? They seem to be a one-dimensional offense. The rookie right guard, his first game, Jalen Carter, prime time, has to protect Dak Prescott off of a major injury. That defense lost Jordan Lewis. That defense lost DeMarcus Lawrence. Are they going to be able to play at a high level? I'm not predicting it to happen, and I'm not trying to come across like, oh, the Cowboys suck, I hate the Cowboys, even though I don't think they're a playoff team this year. But this game could be over by halftime. And for me personally, when I am booking the first game of the NFL season, when I am trying to map out the best product for a fan base, I don't want a game that could be reminiscent of the Super Bowl. I mean, you guys can see this shit behind me. Obviously, I'm an Eagles fan, so if the Eagles are pummeling the Cowboys, it'll be a great show for me. The Super Bowl was great for me. But a lot of people didn't like the Super Bowl because it was over at halftime. Game 1 of the NFL season, I think, unfortunately has that same potential. Game 2 of the NFL season, not officially announced, but officially announced. It's a mixed bag right now, but I think we're all but certainly going to be headed towards Chiefs-Chargers in Brazil. I think this was a home run. I think this was the matchup, and I was worried that early in the season, in these primetime slots, the NFL doesn't like to do divisional matchups, so we weren't going to get this, but I think this is perfect. Kansas City, of course, the champions of the AFC for almost the last half decade now, versus the Chargers, division rival who are on the come up. Justin Herbert, Jim Harbaugh versus Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. A lot of pieces in this game. I'm really excited to see how the Chargers look. Omarion Hampton, Trey Harris added to an offense with Ladd McConkey already there. The Chargers now actually have a real shot at a two-dimensional offense because Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton, that's a real run game. When Dobbins was healthy last year, they could run the ball, but I still think that they could take it to another level this upcoming season. And then Trey Harris is a real deep threat, probably better than Quentin Johnston. McConkey is an absolute stud. And then you have Kansas City, coming off of a Super Bowl loss in which some of their weaknesses were exposed. You can get pressure against KC. What is their run game? Pacheco seemed to have lost it last year. Can he get back to his full form? Travis Kelce, is there another stage of this decline coming? Rashee Rice, will he be back? Will he be 100%? Xavier Worthy, does he take that next leap as a player? This division could come down to who won in Brazil in week 1, because it is a damn competitive division in the AFC West with the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Raiders, man. That is a good division. So I really do love the idea of this game, and I love the opportunity it presents for the Chargers to get out and get a win over Kansas City like that and really make this division interesting. I really, really do like that. We have the Fox Monday doubleheader on on December 20th. We have the Saturday doubleheader. Eagles versus Commanders, Packers versus Bears, two divisional rival games. That's in week 16. I think that's a good spot, right? Back-to-back divisional games. Both sets of games should feature two teams that are in the playoff hunt. Eagles Commanders certainly will be. Hell, that game could determine the division. Packers versus Bears. I don't think that game will be determining the division, but I think it could determine which of those teams makes versus misses the playoffs with how competitive the NFC North is. I expect all four teams to really be in it, and it's going to come down to who wins those divisional games. So as many of those as we could sprinkle in primetime spots, I absolutely love it. November 28th, Black Friday, I believe that is. We are getting Bears versus Eagles. That'll be a fun game. I thought it could have been opening night. Again, every game really matters for both of those teams. The Christmas game, Broncos versus Chiefs, has been announced. We don't have any other Christmas game announced yet, but I think there's going to be two additional Christmas games this year. The Chiefs requested to continue playing on Christmas. They kind of want to be one of the staple Christmas teams, the way that the Lions and Bears and Cowboys are, and Packers, I believe, for Thanksgiving. They want to be that for Christmas. They get their wish. Divisional matchup, similar to my analysis of the Chargers-Chiefs game. I think it's going to be really fun. The Broncos, to me, they might be the odd team out based on my early predictions. They were, but obviously, again, huge opportunity here on Christmas. It'll be a short week to go out there and steal a win over Kansas City. And then we get a Monday Night Football game of Eagles-Packers on November 10th. That'll be a fun game, playoff rematch, that time in Lambeau. The international games. Let's talk at length here about some of these international games. We talked about the Brazil game already. I thought that was a fine game. I have some gripes with some of these international games. So let's start with the Dublin game. The Dublin game, I think, is a good one. It is going to be, I believe, week 5 of the NFL season, the Vikings versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is an interesting game. It'll be a hell of a lot more interesting if Aaron Rodgers signs with Pittsburgh. It just kind of will at this point in time. You know, is he going to lead Pittsburgh to the playoffs? I don't know, but he's got a better shot than Mason Rudolph, in my opinion. The Vikings, a team that I'm becoming very, very high on. I seriously think the Vikings might take their division. I'm flirting with the idea of picking the Vikings to win the NFC North. I'm not committing to it. I'm flirting with it, but JJ McCarthy, I think by mid-season could be at the level Sam Darnold was at last year. Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, Naylor, a top 10 offensive line in football, a defense that added talent to it. Brian Flores is going to have a lot of fun with that defensive line of Grenard, Turner, Allen, Hargrave. Like there's a ton of talent in Minnesota. As long as JJ McCarthy is just competent, this should once again be a playoff team. They're one of the most disrespected teams on their over-unders, in my personal opinion. So I think that'll be a fun game. The following week, week 6, the Vikings stay overseas. They take on the Cleveland Browns. If Shador isn't starting, there's no intrigue for the Browns. That's the truth of the matter. If Shador Sanders isn't starting this London game, there is not going to be intrigue. I know that right now we're all excited about everything because it's football and the opportunity for it to be played is very exciting. And yes, while I agree with that in its general sense, if Shador Sanders is not in this game, it's a miss. Now, I know the Browns had to play an overseas game. Listen, it is what it is. But it's just not going to be super exciting. The following week, week 7, Broncos at Jets, but it is in London. Fine. I don't think the Jets are going to be good this year. I think that this smells Broncos 10-plus point victory written all over it. But the Broncos were a playoff team last year. They have a fun, exciting team. The Jets, listen, I'm not the guy that's bought into Justin Fields, but you know a guy that's bought into Justin Fields. Every NFL fan knows a guy who thinks Justin Fields is still top 10 potential quarterback and maybe he's the savior for the Jets. I'm not bought into it. A game that I love. I believe this is week 8. Wembley Stadium. Rams, Jaguars. This is going to be, in my opinion, the second best international game of the year behind that Brazil game. The Rams, I don't need to sell you on them. Stafford, Puka, Devontae, Kyron Williams, that defense, you could argue they're one play away from beating the Eagles, and then who knows what their season holds last year. We know that the Rams are a legit good team. The Jacksonville Jaguars, by week 8, I expect that offense to be rolling. I don't know if their defense is going to be good enough for them to be a playoff team, but I know their offense is going to be fun enough that they will be good television. Trevor Lawrence, I expect him to bounce back to a resemblance of what he was 2 years ago under Liam Cohen. They have good offensive players. Brian Thomas, Travis Hunter. I like their running back core as a group together. Etienne, Bigsby, and Bayshaw. That is going to be a fun offense. Will the defense be good enough? I'm not sold on that. But I think there could be a lot of points scored in that London game. And of course, the Jaguars are a staple in London every single year. The Germany game. I think Germany got hosed. Sunday, November 9th. We got Falcons, Colts. Listen, I know I'm lower on the Falcons than most. I think the Buccaneers are clearly a better team than them. And I wouldn't sleep on the Panthers being better than them. For the Colts, I think they're the worst team in the AFC South. This is a battle of two bad teams. And for me to wake up at 9:30 a.m. on a Sunday and, because you gotta wake up before them because, of course, the Sunday tradition, bacon, egg, and cheese, brekkie sandwich, iced coffee in the morning, get any of your errands done before the game start. If this Sunday you want me to wake up 8 a.m., rush out the door to go do all that stuff to make sure I'm back for this game, I just don't know. I just don't know if I could promise that. I mean, I'm a sicko, and I'm talking about NFL on YouTube on May 13th, so I'll certainly be there, but you could have done better. You could have done better. You could have done better. And a game that I have some concern for, which looks good on paper. Sunday, November 16th, I believe this is week 11 in Madrid, Commanders versus Dolphins. Are the Dolphins going to be so bad that this is a similar concept to Broncos Jets? Hey, a team with a young quarterback that's a star with a good offense taking on a team in the AFC East that's probably not even a playoff team. I'm just saying. I know that I'm always lower on the Dolphins than most. I called it last year, but I'm just saying, I think by week 11, is Tua going to be out there? What's the Dolphins' record going to be? I think that this game on paper right now, when we talk about Terry McLaurin, Jaden Daniels, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, age, like everything, it's a game that looks way better in May than it will in November. But hopefully, for the Dolphins' sake, it's warm in Madrid in November, because Lord knows they can't play in the cold. So, a favor from the NFL in that sense for Miami. Now, those are all the currently released games. These are just my quick thoughts on what we got so far. Like I said, this Thursday, I'm going to give you guys my rankings of the top 5 NFL weeks once we get the full schedule out. So make sure you're tapped into the channel for that. If you love the NFL, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I appreciate your guys' support. I'll catch you next time. Peace.